Hello and welcome. I'm Sharron Martin. I'm a messenger for Gaia, and I have some news for you today about the energies in December, which are very incredible actually, and we are going to feel them very intensely and powerfully. So let me just bring up my notes. Yes, okay, I think that's good. So one of the aspects that Gaia referenced was the Shakespearean play, where the quote was, "All the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players." And so this referencing that we are in many respects playing out various roles here, and to remember that, and that there are those who are carrying out roles that are very challenging and difficult. And I certainly made that comment to a friend the other day. Well, I'm glad I didn't put my hand up for that role, because that role looks tough. So just remember that each of us is playing a part here in the grand awakening of humanity and the up-leveling of consciousness on our planet. And we can see that, remember also Gaia speaks about, viewing things from many levels. So we can see that on this three-dimensional level, these particular things are happening that are encroaching on our human rights, that are pushing us into corners, that are making us dig deep about what feels right. And this is a time for us to do that, to dig deep, to feel what is true, to be aligned with our own truth, with our own divinity, in our own authority, and standing in our own power. It's not necessarily about pushing other people out of the way. It's just about us being centered and in alignment and standing in that place, staking our claim on our own rights. So there's some good words to consider for this month, and there's a whole lot of C words, and you might think of a few of your own, but they aren't that. So think being clean, being centered, being calm, being clear, being connected, making choices, being courageous, being in compassion, and being in creation, because this month is a month of massive energies coming in to open us up and have greater purification, etc. And I'll talk more about that. But it's also a month for us to be in strong creation of what it is that we want in our world and in our lives. So we're kind of in the place of cleaning out the bottom of the fish tank. This is really gathering the gravel and cleaning it and clearing it and running it over in our fingers, and then cleaning and scraping the bottom of the tank before we put it back in. And that's what's happening. It's what's happening in our world, on our earth, in our bodies, in our cells, in our society, in our systems, in our structures, in our collective consciousness. So let's begin. On the 1st of December, this is what came through. Find your divine spark. It sits within your energetic heart center in front of the spine and shows up as a white, yellow and gold with a flame appearance. And to take your focus and sit there, your energetic focus, your focus of the mind, your focus of emotions, your focus of spirit, of your own spirituality and of your own divinity, and be centered here, here, here. Emit from there. So you can kind of dive into it, roll into it, move into it, and make your decisions from there. Emit your energy from there, that beautiful connected love energy. And that is where, you connect into your divine central core, your own authority, and you make your decisions from there. So just remember to keep coming back to that place. So on the 1st of December, the world is opening up as this new light brings opportunities for expansion. And this light that was coming in, it's challenging to describe it. I was trying to describe it to a friend a couple of days ago, and the closest thing I could come up with is that it's very much this look of golden or yellow fluorite. I don't even know if there is a yellow or golden fluorite, but it has that kind of, there's a soapy kind of look. It doesn't feel soapy, but it has that kind of look to aspects of it, and then other aspects where you can see the crystallization, and they are the fractals are cloudy and angular, but full of this incredible energy and this amazing illuminated light, this amazing illuminated light. And I wrote here, it's so bright that only those who close their eyes or stare at the ground will not see it, will not see the truth. It is illuminating everything up. So notice around you as the wave of awakening begins to take fuller effect in our physical world. So this energy that's come through, we've not had it here before ever, and it is this beginning opening into our new energies, the new energies of our new earth. It's this, we're moving into the Great Awakening. It's beginning to move like the Mexican wave, pulsating and undulating throughout the world. So in a way, from New Zealand, that Mexican wave will begin, and it's not a hierarchy. It's really linked into where we are geographically and the location. So when New Zealanders can stand up for themselves and it's beginning to appear in the physical, then as we do that, we will create the momentum for this kind of energetic Mexican wave to roll back over the world, and this will be the kind of general consensus of collective awakening, and it will pulsate and undulate throughout the world, carrying this high vibrational foundation of light energies that support humanity to ride on top of the wave rather than to drown in it. And December will feel very much like this. So many of you will have the experience of being the longboard rider on the giant waves of Hawaii. So some may need rescuing by jet ski, Gaia said. So keep an eye out, but avoid rescuing those who are not ready and willing. Their time will come. Each soul has made a kind of time stamp, if you like, on their soul, a time when they will awaken to their new dimensional higher consciousness and frequency. But let me talk a little bit more about this golden light. So it's this golden Christed light or Christus light, and it's permeating all cells of all sentient beings in the perfect quantity, intensity and speed. And you may feel very much that you are witnessing miracles, that at long last, things that you have been patiently waiting for will begin to show up and be revealed. In this month, you are encouraged to seek or to revisit your own softness, to come into balance, to create or remember and reinstate practices that serve you. So I encourage you each morning to awaken to appreciation and gratitude for all that you see, feel, have, know. List them out. Savour the sensory experience of each of them in your heart and in your body. We have been, in a way, navigating through a lot of darkness in the ethers and darkness in the energies, and so we must be exceptionally mindful and pristine in our spiritual hygiene, make sure that we are focused where we want to go, and make sure that we are using good practices for clearing our energy fields. And stay out of the mind. It's when we get into the mind that we get into suffering. So you get aligned and get in your heart center. And also right now is a time for you to get connected, not just to yourself, but to connect or reconnect to those who are like-minded, and to those who are already linked to you through friendship or through family or other relationships. Reach out and let them know that you are thinking of them. This is a time to talk and to lay down the barriers, to hold hands. Even if you at this stage just create this energetically from your own being and inner essence, to connect with love, to open your hearts, and to fill your heart with love and compassion, firstly for yourself and then for others. So I want you to visualize that you're holding hands and connecting hearts. That this energy of touch, of love and of compassion runs from your heart, down your arms, through your connection of holding hands, up their arms and into their hearts. And it is this we must do to bring things to right. We must let go of the need to be right or to be proven correct. This is way bigger and fundamental to well-being than just us as individuals. We are going through the most incredible time in the history of our planet as we move through this ascension into our fifth dimensional world, a place where many around the multiverse didn't think that we would be able to come back to. But we as individuals need to pave the way for new and healthy connections. So we've got to look over this, look above this, look beyond this, and be prepared to be taking this higher stance on it. So I want to say that in many ways the stretch of time between October 2021 and the end of January in 2022 sort of holds this sort of similar packaging, if you like, of energies where there will be truths revealed and the shadows illuminated, and this is affecting greater illuminated light for all. So we've had this kind of compression energy that has come in, which has had this effect of shaking the foundations, if you like, and the darkness, the shadow, the muck has had to come up that's been so illuminating, and this light is so impactful. And so that's happening in the micro of ourselves and the macro of our planet and our collective consciousness. And so this has been, this affecting this greater illuminated light for all, because as the darkness goes, there's more ability, more capacity for us to hold this in ourselves and in our surroundings. So there's been a different foci for each month, but in general we've been looking at those things. So the matrix, well, it's been in dissolution, and on some fronts it looks as though it's already gone. So the 1st of December energies, though, this was like another rebirth, brand spanking new energies here on the planet, and I was shown that we were moving into on the 1st, and we'll be moving through this in December and January, this transition tunnel of sparkling golden crystalline Christed light, bringing us into greater Christed consciousness, enabling us to stand in higher frequency and in finer aspects of purification. So you may have been feeling that in your bodies. It's bubbly and effervescent like champagne, and full of joy and peace and harmony and unity and higher love. So celebrate this in daily expansive energies, and these are linked also to 12-strand DNA reconnections and the rememberings of skills and talents housed within the 12 strands DNA. So in general, this is our experience during this time through December and January, with some particular points of interest and in particular days, which I'll reference in a moment. But that we're coming into this ability to access higher aspects of self, our higher multidimensional aspects, our lifetimes where we existed in 12th dimensional consciousness, and beginning to access what's housed in our 12 stranding of DNA, these reconnections that have been going on. This light, this frequency, this energy that's dropped in on the 1st is assisting us to access those now. So on the 12th, on the 12th portal, on the 12th of December, I'm showing there will be a streaming of energies enabling reconnection up to your 12th dimensional aspects of self. So these energies that have been coming in with daily increases in frequency and speed and intensity, they are housed now in the enlightened consciousness of many. Now to an extent that we are able to access the memories of these 12th dimensional lives and their accompanying gifts, talents and expertise, they are becoming available for us again to notice, to access, to download and to integrate. So if you are in higher service for humanity, connect in for your own clarification. Just check in, is there anything else to be released right now? Because we're really in the very fine nuances of clearing and purifying and coming into this greater way of being, this higher level of consciousness and thinking and operating. And so it's time to just look at that. So go within and ask, is there anything else to be clarified, to be released, to be healed within yourself, in readiness for stepping into your own personal mastery. So this is the point at which many of you are at. And how, what, where, and who will you serve in your highest capacity now? It may be that there's a shift of focus for you. What will you bring to humanity and the planet in this next phase? Set the intention, allow the inculcation and integration as December closes out, and bring it to the fore in January to percolate and develop, ready for commencement in February 2022. So I am showing that this will not be available to all, only to those who are ready, because otherwise it would blow circuits. So we're closing off this year of movement, of change and of integration. And on the 21st of December, there is another increase in expansion and bandwidth to the energies of the 1212 portal. So what dropped in the 1212 portal, there's this kind of consolidation of it. So the 1212 portal introduces these energies, and the 2112 portal increases and expands them, and then we ground them in. So this is our process of moving through this birthing tunnel, or this tube, or this portal of this exquisite, higher, purifying, finer frequencies, resonance and crystalline light, and having some sort of saturation points in some of these portal days. And so Gaia said that on the 21st it would behave like a hydro shower, this extreme purification that would come about. So coming in, so I was showing it would sort of come in on this kind of angle on the 3rd, and then it would be this angle of the 12th. So if you imagine the light coming in that sort of angle, that to there and then to there, and then on the 21st it's this integration, it's this hydro shower. That's how Gaia described it, this spectacular light burst that will bring about extreme purification in an action of expansion as the planet moves in a shallow arc through this date, to have a softer aspect to the sun. So she was showing me that on that date, or during that date, we'll come into this place where the sun just looks softer. It has a softer appearance, a more filtered effect, and that we will also see greater aurora borealis effects more globally, and especially at dawn and dusk, when the sun is at its lower level trajectory of illumination on the planet. So there will be more constant solar filaments being released over this month that will have this impact. And so this is kind of an overview of the effects of that. So don't worry, our solar sun is preparing for its own regenesis, and it will come like an overlay, which then gets sealed and functions as our fifth dimensional solar sun, and this is scheduled for completion in 2025. So remember, we are in the midst of dissolution of systems that all will crumble and collapse, not all at the same time and not all in one motion. But you might remember that a while ago Gaia said that politics, government, banking and finance would be first. We're beginning to see that showing up in our physical world. You might remember that she said that this idea of vaccine mandates would be rolled off the table around the world by Christmas, and stretching into as we know, this time is illusionary, but the 3D time matrix is dissolved. And so I know that here in New Zealand she's said that that's more likely to happen towards the end of January, but we can see that trending. If you like, pop in the comments below of any of the physical evidence that you know of this, things that have been placed through high courts and supreme courts around our globe where there has been movement from legal aspects saying that you cannot mandate this to this population. It's against the Bill of Rights, it's against the Human Rights Declaration and various other well-known international documentation that protects us, supposedly protects us. And so yeah, there's been a number of those that have come out. So let's make a list of them. I think I've seen about 10 or 12 different ones, but I'm not going to mention them here because it would be really a nice collaborative thing for us to collaborate and co-create in the notes below. So please add in what you know, and when I have launched this video, I'll go back in later and add in some of the ones that I know. So then once we've had this politics, government, banking and finance collapse, we will watch other things that link into that, medical, pharmaceutical, and then every system will, and you'll be seeing that, right? There are now people saying, well, I want to now homeschool my children. There are impacts in education that parents aren't happy about, and rightly so. We do, a lot. There are a lot of beautiful teachers and a lot of beautiful people who work in our medical industry, and we need to line the systems up with what supports us as humanity, as a collective, as people, as families, as communities. And so we will dissolve and rebuild and create new templates for better, higher ways of being in all of these. And so we're witnessing now the deficit, and when we begin to see the deficit, then we begin to stop supporting those systems and look to build new ones. So remember, you are learning to be steady on the moving bed of marbles. Remember, you are loved. Remember, you are held and you are safe. And so focus your imagination and your creative vision now on your intentions. What do you want in your life and world? And you don't need to make this as a list of physical attributes or collection of physical material things. You make this more empowered by focusing on the feelings and on the actions that support healthy, harmonious systems for humanity and the planet and the biosphere and all creatures. And this biosphere, these are the regions of the surface and the atmosphere of our Earth or any other planet, where all the living organisms interact through the land, air and water, where they interact with each other to support life. I want to also say, remember to think big, act small, think globally, act locally. The 1st of December has been like a rebirth. We're here in these new energies, moving through this portal birthing tunnel over the next 6 to 8 weeks. You, in your own authority, in your own sovereignty, standing in your own power, really feeling that. Feel your own empowerment, creating up your new existence in our beautiful, radiant, golden light world. Make sure that you are out of fear, that you're out of the duality, the polarity, the tension. A lot of people in our world are, suffering from trauma. They're traumatized to the extent that they're unable to receive, new information that might be sort of counter to the story or narrative that they've either been sold or that they've bought into or that they are carrying. And it's so strong for so many of them that they can't see anything different, and so we have to hold space and be in compassion to allow that process, this carefully crafted story that they've created for themselves, with a lot of assistance, I have to say, from the media and government. And so they have disconnected from others and disconnected from themselves through this, and this disconnection is this impact that we're feeling now. And so for us, the way forward, I believe, and the way forward I've been shown, is to make sure we are connected to self, and then to get connected and reconnected to the people around us, and to get centered, connect to our own divinity, to trust yourself, trust your ability to think for yourself, trust your body, trust your sensory responses, your gut, your intuition. Come back to your own authority and your own truth. And that's the place that we're at now. That's our focus individually and collectively, is to come into connection, to be holding hands as humanity, to be reassuring one another that this is going to be okay. We are going to get through this, that this is here for purpose, and the purpose is to awaken us so that we can access our most magnificent gifts, step into our own mastery, and then we are pulling through the collective by holding this highest light and frequency that uplifts humanity. So it's very important to be noticing where it is that you're placing your focus. And I said to my mother a few months ago, well, we have to remember, Mum, that probably never in the history of our world has the entire world been speaking of, having conversations about the same topic at the same time. It creates this huge energetic surrounding of the planet, holding that energy that's very saturated with fear and propaganda. And when you can sit in a higher place and view it, you can see it's been genius, and you can see it's been intrusive, and you can see we are being pushed and stretched. And then from a higher level, you can see we're being given opportunity here to question ourselves, to question what we are told, to come into asking questions of, is this right? Does this sit with me? Is this my truth? What is it my internal body is telling me, showing me, making me feel, that gives me guidance about what is next? Because when we move into our fifth dimensional world, we become our own authority. We become our own co-creation of our lives. And so we need to be in good practice with that, with connecting with our higher divinity, with our higher mind. And sort of hand in hand with that at the moment is this wherewithal, these energies that have come in to provide this opportunity for us to access further up into our higher self, into our higher dimensional aspects and lives, right up to lifetimes we've had in a 12th dimensional existence. And so we've never had this here on the earth before, where we've been given access to that level of our own capabilities and abilities. And so we must come into this knowing ourselves well, this being connected to our own inner self, our divinity, our ability to make decisions that are for our highest, that are for our greatest determination, for our own authority. And this is our opportunity. And some of this pushing, pulling, stretching, expanding, it's doing that. We've been in this process for some time, this process of spiraling up, releasing the old and bringing in the new, embedding it, integrating it, being able to use it in new ways. And now we are having that increase, and have been for I don't know, a few weeks at least. Every day it's been increasing in intensity, speed and expansion and frequency every day, and we're having to integrate on the run. So we went through a phase of that happening every 3 days or so, and then we'd have a few days, would come in and we'd have a few days of integration, then something new would come in and we'd have a few days of integration, and then that moved to our having the equivalent of 3 days of that coming in one day. And so we got to be integrating that, so there was this massive kind of step up, if you like, of what came in. And then that step up remained, but we started having that every day. And so that's the kind of level of increase that we're in. And when I awoke on December the 1st, I really was like, oh wow, we really are in new energies. I've just never felt these before. I've never seen these before. And then I got shown this beautiful golden tunnel, and I got shown that we were moving through that like this transitory, and we've been through lots of birthing things and lots of transition times over the past few years, but this is a big one. This is an extra special one, moving through these creation energies. They often sit with the month of December, and then these particular portals that are lining up with that, with the 12-12, so the 3rd of the 12th, because 1 + 2 is 3, the 12th of the 12th, the 21st of the 12th, and those making availability to us to access these higher creative energies and these higher mind aspects. So these are ways of thinking and operating, of communicating, that haven't been here on the planet for a long time, and maybe some of them never on this planet. And so that's the we've been given access now to, or permission to, or availability to access those, to harness them, to integrate them, and to start to use them. And many of you will know where your area of focus and expertise is, and many of you will have been building templates in the etheric that are to come in for the new. It isn't going to happen like the rug being pulled out from under our feet and then finding ourselves trying to walk on the air. It's going to just be this ongoing but speeding up, crumbling dissolution, and then the new laying in. And this new laying in will be very supportive of us in our new way of being, as we'll be letting go of the sort of darker elements and aspects of our world and of our personalities and of our shadows, because this is the opportunity for them to be illuminated and looked at, disintegrated. And then the other aspect of it is that the reason that there's been this kind of scrambling, if you like, the scrambling by the dark, is because, as I'm not sure the last time I told you this, but Gaia says these entities, these aspects of beings who are not able to come into the higher light. They cannot move beyond the fourth dimension. And so that is why there's been this absolute, toe-to-toe, fist-to-fist scrambling by the dark to hold us in these lower energies. That's what all the fear is about. I will make you fearful of something that has not yet happened so that your vibration is lowered. When your vibration is lowered, it affects everyone around you. When that is the case, when we are in that lower frequency, then we can be affected by these darker elements, these darker aspects, these nefarious ways of being. And they it's lights out for them on our earth when we move into our fifth dimensional world, and so they are fighting for their lives here, and I mean that seriously. So your job is, fundamental to your well-being, is keeping your vibration high and making that your fundamental work. And so that's why I'm suggesting, it's time. You get focused here. You get focused on what is good and whole and fabulous. You get focused on what rings your bells and makes you feel good and fills you with love and lights up your world, illuminates your heart, gets you going, gets you excited. And that's where you focus your intention on creation of where we are headed beyond this. So where you put your focus is where you will end up. And remember, when you're driving on the motorway or the expressway or the highway, if you just cast your eyes to one side, if you notice something on the curb, it only takes a moment for you to have shifted in your lane. Even if you haven't crossed the line and gone into someone else's lane, it only takes a moment of shifting your focus to something like that for your vehicle to move in the lane. And just remember, that's how powerful where your focus is pitched has on where you end up. So where you focus, where you focus, there you go. So for me, no thanks. I want to end up in this beautiful, magical fifth dimensional world, climbing back up to higher frequencies and co-creating this new way of being with higher love and higher mind, and enjoying this new way of being in connection with one another, where many things will fall away. And you will have noticed some of them have been very apparent. The consumerist approach, that's fallen away. The individual is moving into this greater community again. We're becoming more simplified in what we require. We are getting back to organising our own food and our own networks. There's a lot that's changed. Schools are going to have a reset and a refocus. There'll be a lack of trust of parents in these institutions through what's happened during this time. The churches and religion, they will be being asked big questions when more of the truth comes out of some of the history of what has gone on, and all of this will unravel, and we will be shown it in due course, in due time. But it's a lot, and it doesn't really serve us to know all of it all at once. It will be way too overwhelming for all of us. But right now we're in this month of creating up our new way of being. So I invite you to focus on that. I'm going to put together another meditation around this, and I invite you to partake in that. But right now, just when you wake in the morning, just focus on the beauty of what is around you and what is within you, and what you might like to envisage the feelings of our new fifth dimensional earth. And those feelings, those emotional, sensory experiences in the body, in the cells, in the heart, on the skin, in our sensory experiences, they pull the rest in. We don't need to worry about the details. The bigger picture energetic pull in the details that support that. So you don't have to get caught up in any of that, and that's why the meditations, the guided meditations that have been already put together, that Gaia and I have put together, are focusing on that. How do you feel? How do you want to feel? How do you want to feel every moment? And what does that do? How does that connect in? All of those ways of being and operating, they support us in our new world. They support us in our new earth, in our golden era. And so we will go through, over the next few years, this sort of some systems will just totally collapse like that, and others will just crumble away bit by bit, and they'll be replaced with more, better, higher things that serve us as humanity. And it will all be also in sync with all beings on the planet. That's the next thing for us to really get a grip on. When we've let go of this fear and got connected to one another, we can then connect up through the animal world, through the plant world, through the energetic world on our earth, and recognize that we are all connected and that we each have an impact on the other, and that let me see, what else do I want to tell you here? So in terms of our earth and this global warming, I just invite you not to get too drawn into that. We know that it's a bigger cycle at play, and I have to say that when I speak to Gaia about these things, her answer is always, we just have to step back. We have to stop interfering. Nature has this incredible ability to rebalance, to clean up and to recalibrate itself, and in its connection to other aspects of nature. We just have to get our little sticky noses out of the way and stop, in a way, being a little bit arrogant that we know best. We certainly have things to offer, but we need to recognize that there's a lot of innate wisdom here on our planet, in our planet, and that we're just an aspect of that. Anyway, the exciting thing is that these mandates, these vaccination mandates, are rolling off the table now, and more are to come. So please make a comment about what you know around that below, and that is on the cards for that to be cleaned up and out of the way by the end of January, and then we'll be into examining other aspects of what this has been about, and unraveling the truth, and looking at the systems that support us or don't, and coming into greater unity and harmony and peace in our hearts, and really shifting into our new way of being, operating and connecting. So I wish you a beautiful, magical, co-creative month of December, and that you are remembering to tune in on these 12/12 or 3/3 portal windows to access and integrate these higher codes and memories and gifts and skills and talents, and let us stay in that buoyant way of being, in the energy of joy and love and peace and harmony, knowing that we are stepping into creating a new earth, and that we have already this whole experience that's been happening globally has already shifted energetically. In the energetic realm, it has already shifted, and it did a few weeks ago. And so our role is to be, in a way, pulling up the physical and pulling down the energetic, so that they meet in the middle, and the physical aspects that are interfering with our abilities to ascend, or they are catalysts for our abilities to ascend, depending on the viewpoint that they're done with, and that we can ascend into higher consciousness and into this higher vibrational resonance in and around our cells and bodies. So breathe it in, experience it in your heart, really feel it in your cells, notice it around you. It's sparkly, the light is very different, and as we move in past the 21st, we'll begin to see more of these Aurea Borealis, and that effect, that rainbow spectrum, that floating kind of light, and what will happen is that we'll see it when the sun is low on the horizon, so early dawn and late dusk is what Gaia says about that. So we'll see what happens with that, but that's going to be seen around the world apparently, and I think that's, I don't know, maybe that's it for now. And so much love from my heart and from the heart of Gaia as we move through this incredible, never before done series of moments. See you again soon.